It's fantastic. I'm sitting in this wonderful country kitchen, and who should walk in but the great Errol Reid and the brilliant producer, Mr. Livingston Brown.
Word.
And of course, what's interesting is, of course, Errol and Livingston, they both came out to Bermuda last September, were part of the Peace Day concert. But more importantly, I asked, I was actually struggling with a song called Borrowed Time. If you remember, Livy, I sort of like sketched it out, and I wasn't really happy with the way it was going. And so I asked you, I said, Liv, you know, what can we do? You got any ideas about Borrowed Time? And you said, oh, I really do. And so tell me about what happened.
Well, I get to find out it was a song, well, I get to find out, as we all know, it was a song that was actually released after, sadly, John had passed. And I always felt as though there was a great song in there that John had never really gotten to, you know, do his thing with. It was, in some ways, even more daunting than taking one of his established classics and hitting it back as it is. You know, we needed to think, okay, you know, where would John? And I felt that there was a meaning that musically we could pull something together. Living on Borrowed Time is such a powerful statement, and I just wanted to bring a little bit more, you know, depth and meaning musically to it. So that's where we started. We kind of flipped one of the chords from a major to a minor just to give it a little bit more gravitas. And then I pulled in my good friend, Mr.
Nice word, gravitas.
and the great Errol Reid. And what was really interesting, because you know, I haven't been hadn't been to England for a while, and so when you told me about Errol, and I sort of, who is Errol? And
who's Errol?
Who is Errol? And when I found out that you've done a little bit of work with the Bee Gees and a little bit with Robin Gibb and Tom, my good old friend Tom Jones, who I was a roadie for when I was a teenager, which is really cool. And then, of course, Swedish House Mafia you've done some stuff with. So,
Axwell, yes.
Yes, that's right. So anyway, what was really cool is the arrangement of Borrowed Time and what you guys do with that. It's really cool. So tell me a little bit about it, Errol. What's your take on it?
Well, my take on it, I just love the way Livy brought it into today. He just used some of the conventional reggae sounds, but gave it a 2012, as it was then, polish to it. And I just love the record, because the record itself, it dictates what we are all doing right now. We are all living on borrowed time. We're only here for a moment in time.
What? Are you kidding?
Well, I thought now that we've done the record, we're now part of history.
Part of history. We're going to live forever. That's what
we're going to live forever, right?
We're going to live forever.
That's right.
Provided the internet doesn't crash.
Yeah, so as John said so well, life is what happens to you while you're busy making other plans, which is another line from the Double Fantasy song, Beautiful Boy.
That's right.
But it was great to have you be a part. It's really an honour, and you know, we're releasing it in England on May the 20th, and you know, we're going to start, you know, as all the best laid plans that you can come up with. We were originally going to go for February the 14th, and that sort of got pushed back. And then we had a situation where we were changing the box set, and what happened was we added a couple of more tracks to this, because that's why it's different from the one I originally gave you in Bermuda. The original box set had 32 songs. And what happened was Roy Young came to Bermuda, and you remember the great Roy Young and how wonderful he was. And we thought, oh, you know, and he played with the Beatles. That was what was so cool about it. This man had actually gigged with them night after night after night in Hamburg. So we recorded Nowhere Man with Roy, put him in the studio here at Big Ocean, which was great. And then, of course, Andy Newmark had spoken to Brian Ferry, and Brian Ferry contributed Jealous Guy, which was fantastic. So, you know, along with our good friend Maxi Priest, who you produced Maxi's song, All My Loving. And tell me a little bit about All My Loving. All
My Loving is the song that both Max and I remember, for whatever reason, was very popular in Jamaican households back in the 60s. And I get to hear that apparently the song was playing while John unfortunately was lying fighting his last battle in hospital, and we thought, you know, as the last song he heard, even though it's maybe one that he didn't fully right, we wanted to have a look at that. It just felt really good, you know.
Yeah, and the other thing is that I thought in talking to Maxi is that one of the things that we discovered that All My Loving was the very first song that the Beatles played in America on that television show, the Ed Sullivan Show, which was in February of 1964, I believe it was. And that was the first song. I mean, it was the first song, and in a kind of weird way, when you know, the night that John passed away, the journalist that heard All My Loving on the hospital system being played, and it was kind of strange. And Max liked the song, so you know, written by Lennon and McCartney. It was more of a McCartney song, but Max liked it, and so that's he did it.
Yep, that's exactly.
That's the story.
Thank you for that. But yeah, we did it, and so what we did is we actually went to Jamaica to cut it. We were wanting to bring a little bit of island feel to it and go right back to, okay, in 1964, the music of the day was kind of ska, it was kind of, you know, thingy, so we brought a bit of that to it and kind of immersed ourselves in that for a moment and then recorded it in Mobay, Kingston. And it all came together very quickly. The treat, though, was mixing it at Abbey Road.
Wasn't that a fun day?
Absolutely.
We had a good day, didn't we?
Yep.
That was great, Errol. We all went into Abbey Road, and it was sponsored by the Fairmont. That mix was sponsored by the hotel in Bermuda, the Fairmont.
Okay.
You know, which were very kind to, you know, help with putting you guys up when you were in Bermuda. And yeah, it was great. Great experience to be in there and listen to. One of the things that was interesting when you were referencing the mix, because you were going for a particular sound, and one of the songs that you were referencing was a little bit of da-da-da.
Mambo 50.
Mambo 50, whatever it was. 50, yes. Yeah, and but it was just the feel of the song, and that's the way, in a way, the feel of what that song was very similar to how you ended up with All My Loving. So thanks very much, and well produced. And we have
positive results from, so positive reaction from that.
That's great. It's been very, very, very good reaction, and it's being played by the radio stations here. It's on our. What we did was we gave the PR team a number of tracks, as you know, we gave them the whole album, and then they're profiling a certain amount of tracks, and obviously that's one of them, and so that's kind of cool. And but let's suffice it to say, they're playing other songs that that we wouldn't have thought they would have played, including some of the Bermudians, which is great.
Great.
You know, I mean, that's. I think one of the things we like about this is not just about people that have a career in the music business, like you, Errol, or Maxi, or Paul Carrick, or Niels Lofgren, or Judy Zoot, but we've also showcased the Bermudians, which, you know, that's one of the things that I think gives it credibility, that it's a tribute to John from the people of Bermuda and from friends of Bermuda. That and you've been to Bermuda. Tell me, what was your impression of Bermuda?
I loved it. Absolutely loved it. It's a small island, as we know, but yeah.
And would you come back?
If you have me back.
You see, I knew we were going to get round to that.
If you'll have me back,
there we go.
Of course I'll come back.
Of course you will. Well, I knew you would, so that was a silly question.
I get plantain for breakfast. There was porridge. There was dumpling. There was it was like the Fairmont was like being at my mum's house.
That's fantastic. Well,
Jamaican. I put on weight.
Yes, the Jamaican menu at the Fairmont Hotel.
Absolutely.
Well, Bermudian Jamaican island menu.
What the island menu?
Island,
exactly.
man. It's island.
Then saltfish.
Yes, fantastic. And Livy, your experience in Bermuda?
Well, I have to tell you that it was actually one of the most defining weeks of my life, in that I actually got to meet not just a school friend. He was the leader of our band when we were at school. He was the kind of thing. And I just, as I got off the plane, I asked if somebody knew Colin Lloyd. Oh yeah, Colin. He has a few restaurants on the island. He's
cool!
Michelin star chef and stuff. I got to meet Colin and just reconnect with a bit of youth. And so my view of Bermuda was tainted by the beautiful experience of catching up with Colin, and also the show. The night of that show, it was just one of the most beautiful things. The vibe, everybody backstage mucking in. It looked slick from the front, There was mayhem going on at the back, but everybody was chipping in, doing whatever
Wasn't it
needed to
great?
be done.
It was really good.
Thing going.
It was
And
great.
it was
It was an amazing
fantastic.
vibe on the
So
night.
it was a
Right.
fantastic.
And we raised over 100 grand for charity,
Oh,
about
man.
117.
And it felt like we were
Which
doing
is-
something
Yeah.
very
Right.
good. So yeah.
And what was important as well is that the audience that were there enjoyed it from beginning
To end.
They got up, they
Yeah.
danced all the way through.
Yeah, and so this year, we're planning this year. So we'll have a little discussion about this year's
Because
concert.
last year was your first one, wasn't it?
It was. And obviously last year featured this record, which the Lennon Bermuda. And so this obviously, you know, we've already done that record and we're not,
Voila.
wasn't that great? We're not doing obviously another record, but what we are doing, funnily enough, we're opening up the music of the night to be a tribute to also Bob Marley,
Oh, cool.
the Beatles,
Okay.
and also let artists do their own thing.
Fantastic.
And you know, why not? You know, sing songs that you're comfortable with. So and reminisce about Bermuda. And thank you so much for your
I'd like to
contribution.
say one more thing before you finish. Tony, you are the man for pulling something amazing together that brings artists,
Yep.
people, countries, and music together to do something positive. Absolutely fantastic, Tony. It's a pleasure.
Thank you so much. I'm humbled by your generosity.
Pleasure.
And Errol, it's been. Thank you for coming up. By the way, how was the tea?
Chai!
Oh, chai tea.
Chai!
Chai tea, and John Lennon. Oh, it's a good combination. Gentlemen, thank you so much.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Shy.